What is going on, brobats? Crobat for the win here today with a fun match versus the SuperBlah411 on YouTube, aka Nick. Good new friend of mine. He's an awesome channel, so go check his channel out. Also, I've gained a lot of new subscribers recently, so I also want to thank any new subscribers to this channel. New active subscribers are motivation to keep posting for you guys. For older subscribers, your comments and likes are still also motivation. One more thing, I also accept battles via Skype or Twitter, and I will post on Twitter often when I'm looking for a match, so please follow my Twitter, link in description. Now let's get into this match. It was a pretty fun one. As I said, it was against SuperBlah411. He leads off with a Jolteon, I lead off with Greninja. Obviously, that's not a great matchup in my favor, so I switch Greninja on out of there, going to Nidokings, and this was that mixed Nidokings I have used before. Works pretty well, I guess. He goes for Light Screen, so this is a odd Jolteon set. It went for a Light Screen. I don't think it gets Reflect, if I remember correctly, but it has a Focus Sash, so the Earthquake, the mixed sweeping Earthquake anyways, you get Life Orb Recoil because of that, because it doesn't have a secondary effect. But that takes down to Sash. Then he goes for a second Shadow Ball. I actually get Special Defense Drop, but I KO with a Poison Jab. I went for Poison Jab so I wouldn't take Life Orb Recoil, and on the off chance he decided to switch or something, I don't know. Then he goes into Lucario, which is not good because it could be a Mega 1, and of course I see that it is right about now. Thankfully, it is going to be a physical one. He's just going to go for the Shadow Claw, which of course my Gliscor takes really well. Gliscor is going to be key to this match, so I have to keep it around as long as possible. He then goes into Goodra, and I go for the knockoff, predicting a switch. That's going to do a lot of solid damage to Goodra. I get the Gooey, but it's really not a big deal. I knock off his Chesto Berry, so he can't reliably anyways go for Rest. Also, the Light Screen wears off. I'm just going to go for Protect, because I doubt that thing has anything to set up or sub or something. Predicted just like a Dragon Pulse. If he had Draco Meteor, I probably would have switched out. But he just has Dragon Pulse, which of course Gliscor takes really well. Now I go for an Earthquake on that Goodra, which is actually shiny, which is pretty cool, I must admit. He then goes for another Dragon Pulse, living with 61 HP, getting the Earthquake off, and then I score a solid 2-hit KO. Pretty sure the last one was minimum damage, and that one might have been max damage, so I guess that's pretty cool. He then goes out into Galvantula, which I'm a little bit afraid of, just because it has special attacks, which this thing definitely doesn't like. He then goes for the Energy Ball, but that does nothing to Assault Vest Goodra. Love this thing. This is Tony Danza, who's the boss, by the way. He then goes into Diggersby. I go for the Flamethrower. I actually score a crit. Honestly, it didn't matter a whole heck of a lot in this grand scheme of things, because I go into this thing, which cannot take the Earthquake, obviously, because it's a flying type. He then goes for a Return, which I take reasonably well. I mean, I could have probably had that knock out that crit, could have 2-hit KO'd with Earthquake, and honestly I would have just protected and got some health back. I could have taken 2 returns had I done any of that. He then goes into his Aegislash. I get the knockoff off, and I get another crit, which is pretty solid. Also knock off his Life Orb. The unfortunate thing is now he goes for Shadow Ball, so I lose Gliscor, but he did his job this match. He took out a bunch of physical threats, and he severely crippled Aegislash. And here, since he had the Shadow Ball, I was really kind of hoping he wouldn't have the Shadow Sneak so I could KO with Nidokings. Not quite. Oh well. I'm now going to go into Greninja. He might be predicting a Night Slash, so I predicted him to go for the King Shield, and I decided to go for Water Shuriken, which doesn't make physical contact for the King Shield. But he's going to switch out after that, knowing that I might use it again. He goes into Galvantula, which is actually a pretty decent switch for him. I don't feel comfortable staying in. I wasn't sure if he was going to be Scarved or something. I realized after he was Specs, so that's fine. He then goes for Thunder. Of course he gets paralyzed on my Goodra, but that's really not that big of a deal because Goodra is just meant for tanking hits, as long as I don't get 12 Parahaxes in a row, right? Well, there's one right there. I guess that's a sad thing, but I get this attack off after he gets a crit. Not too big of a deal once again because Tony Danza, Goodra, does his job this match. Tank and special hits. I'm just going to leave Goodra in to die now. Get the Gooey off. Honestly, it is paralyzed, so it's not going to tank too many more hits or get many attacks off. Besides, Gooey is too invaluable to pass up on a Lucario. I then go into Jolteon, which I'm hoping to maybe bait him to switch, or if he goes for Extreme Speed, I know I can tank 1. I go for the Thunderbolt, which after the Special Defense Drop, of course will KO. His maybe last Pokemon? I can't remember off my head. All I know is he does have this Aegislash, and he goes for the Shadow Sneak, which I wasn't going to switch out. I just didn't feel safe switching because I didn't really have too much to switch into it. I go into Chandelure, Judith Light. Of course, I know I have to live a Shadow Sneak, but I think this thing can without the Life Orb. And of course I do. Yes! And I get the Shadow Ball off, which is pretty awesome, because now that Aegislash is gone, and I win the match. Okay, that was his last Pokemon. That was a great game, SuperBlah. I mean, I'm glad I got to see some of my Pokemon go Beast Mode again, and, well, yeah, stuff. Anyways, question of the day. What are some of your New Year resolutions? Well, at least in terms of this channel, I'm definitely going to be getting 1,000 subs at some point during this year. I know Nick and some of the other people, the person I just battled, they were talking about how they're going to get me to 1,000 by April at the latest. I'm like, oh, I hope so. I hope they're right. That's one of them. I mean, I don't know. From there, pretty much standard stuff. I hope to get a capture card. So that's also on there. Feel free to comment about yours. So anyways, I hope you liked this video. Rate, comment, subscribe if you did. It would mean a whole lot. Also below are a few of my a few awesome battles that I had recently. So I highly recommend you go check them out. Also, there's a subscribe button. We're hoping to get to 700 subs really soon. So you could always contribute to that by clicking that little button over there. Well, anyways, rate, comment, subscribe, brobats, and peace out.